Welcome into Game Night. I am Derek Forrest. Joining me on the show tonight, Tiger Munn and Alex Flum. So, guys, Spain, huh?
Spain.
Second World Cup in the history of the country.
One of the best defensive performances from any team we'll see in any sport ever.
In anything.
Anything. One goal in how many games? Like 8, 9, 10? Something like that?
Pretty impressive.
Eight. So ridiculous.
I was rooting for Messi because I just wanted to see him go out as the undisputed GOAT in all sports. But still pretty impressive what he's done, and he's still a GOAT in soccer. And congrats to Spain. I mean, they just dominated. I mean, they totally flat out dominated that game.
I rooted for Argentina because
I thought you were rooting for Spain.
Hang on. Because every team I've rooted for has lost.
Right. That's right.
So I rooted for Argentina.
There you go.
All but one, and
I
that's
got
all
you,
that
Spain.
matters, I guess. All but one team. Not in the World Cup, but in other sports. So, but yeah, Spain was more of a team effort all tournament long, where Argentina had to rely on Messi to get them through a lot of the times, and ended up being the team that won. A lot of people were also rooting against Messi, as many Argentina fans
were.
Yeah.
When you're defending champ, people are going to go against you, man. It's hard to beat Spain when it's Messi and friends against that team. So,
certainly true. All right, let's talk about that one team that you root for that did win, and that was the New York Knicks winning a title. But over the weekend in Madison Square Garden, they held the WWE Saturday Night events over at the Garden, and of course, the Knicks were there. We saw Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, a couple other guys. But there was another guy who made a nice little surprise appearance, and that was Trae Young. Trae Young showed up, made an entrance, had a Jalen Brunson jersey. We can't show the video, unfortunately, here, but attempted to rip the jersey. He didn't necessarily rip it, but it's adding to this whole legacy that he has, if you will, with Knicks fans. Right? They haven't liked him since 2021.
it felt like 2001.
And the question, though, is this going to lead to a now brewing Wizards-Knicks rivalry?
Do I have the floor?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, no. No, the first overall team beefing with the NBA champions just doesn't make sense. Let's be real. And two, Trae Young's doing this for the WWE intro, for the whole WWE events and theatrics, which I get. I'm not mad at him for it. But if he wants to keep being like, hey, look what I did to you guys 5 years ago, sure, Trae. That's fine.
Yeah, well, so
That's fine.
So he is playing into the whole WWE theatrics, but he also didn't have to do it. So I think this is going to lead into a nice little Wizards-Knicks rivalry. It all depends on what the Wizards do, right? If all things are projected to be the way they are, the Wizards could be a team that could be playing the Knicks in the first round of the
second
postseason.
round.
Yeah.
Save this clip because
Oh boy! See, now they're
Don't
not.
save
Now
the
they're
clip.
not. Now they're not
No,
going
stop.
to the postseason. If
Don't-
Alex says
Actually,
it,
please save this
Alex
clip.
says it.
Oh,
Save this
Alex,
clip,
this
please.
is not
choose
true.
your words
This
carefully.
isn't true.
Save this.
The
Save this.
Wizards are going to the playoffs.
Oof.
Okay. I knew what you were trying to say.
And when the Wizards go to the playoffs, you can play this clip as much as you want.
Bring me on cam.
Get the shot of me and Tiger. We're starting the Knicks-Wizards rivalry right now
There's
because
nothing to
I think
start.
it's going to actually happen.
It's nothing to start.
There is just look at how the Wizards are they're gonna be so much better this year.
You think the NBA
Knicks-
champions are going to care about the...
The Knicks are the NBA champions right now. They're not the NBA champions of next season yet. They might not be. No team has won back-to-back championships in 9 years?
Let the Wizards worry about winning 30 games before we worry about beefing with the best team in basketball. But if it's gonna be a rivalry, it's gonna be one-sided.
It's gonna be fun. Listen, the Wizards-Cavs rivalries were fun back in the day. The Wizards had a brief.
There was a
little,
Wizards-Cavs rivalry?
yeah, when LeBron and Deshaun Stevenson. It was a thing. It was a thing.
I lost Tiger with that one.
Okay.
And then Wizards-Hawks briefly was Wizards-Celtics, Wizards-Knicks.
When were these rivalries?
What the Wizards-Cavs was with Gilbert Arenas.
Okay.
I can see that. I can see that.
Hawks and
I'm not
Celtics
saying
was with
so.
John
These
Wall.
were one-sided rivalries. I mean, these happen a lot.
Well, there was also Wizards Raptors. The Wizards swept the Raptors.
Did these teams not like you guys, or you just didn't like those teams?
No, they played in the playoffs, and it was contested, tight series. What? The
I'm
Wizards
just nodding
beat
my
the
head.
Hawks in the playoffs.
I'm just nodding my head.
Wizards beat the Hawks in the playoffs.
I think.
In fact, they beat Trae Young, I think. No, wait, was Trae Young not there yet?
I don't think he was there yet.
Never mind.
Um,
It was Jeff Teague.
I'm trying to think. Jeff Teague, great podcast, by the way. I'm trying to think if there's any like rivalries that I definitely do know with the Wizards personally. I need you to like.
Well, now there's not one, but there will be. When a team becomes good, rivalries sprout up because they're playing in important games, and that's what's going to happen here.
I feel you, but the thing with Trae Young that I didn't even mention, nobody on that Knicks team is on the current Knicks team, especially after Mitch Robinson left.
But the fans are still there, and the fans always remember.
We have when I was at the parade, you heard the Trae Young chants. A lot of fans went up to them and told them to stop because that's where we are as like Knicks fan, and we are so past the Trae Young chants that like, you know what I mean? We're beefing with the Defensive Player of the Year now.
You only passed it because you won a title.
That's exactly why, though. That's exactly why.
You can enjoy your title, but it doesn't guarantee anything next year.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right,
that's fine.
All right, let's talk about another rivalry. Or is this a one-sided rivalry that I just mentioned, the Washington Spirit and Gotham FC? Because the Spirit can't beat Gotham right now. But it 100% is a rivalry. They played in the championship game. They've got the history, and now we're starting to see some things on social media between the two squads.
Yeah, I mean, check out this that we got. Our intern Heaven pointed this out to us today, that we saw the Gotham had tweeted out, and I don't know if we can start this video over, Derek. I don't know if that's possible. It'll get there. But Gotham had tweeted out saying, they were first place and the Spirit were not first place, and the Spirit are now back up, tied with Gotham for first place, and they put out a tweet, which you'll see soon, that says they've moved up in the standings. I thought it was supposed to come right away.
Well, it's already playing.
There we go. There we go. So this was Gotham's original tweet that they had put out with Gotham at the top, but the Spirit had a quick response. And I agree, Derek. The Spirit need to actually get it done and beat Gotham and win the championship this year instead of losing in the title game and losing to Gotham in the regular season. But for what it's worth, right now, they're tied.
I agree with both what you guys said. This definitely is a rivalry because just look at when they play. They don't like each other. They really don't. Trinity is like the most... Trinity talks to the ref the most when they play Gotham, and her mouth moves the most when they play Gotham. That's because they don't like each other. Everyone's talking to each other. Everyone's trash talking each other, and that's what makes this rivalry so good and fun. And that's why they see each other every single time in the championship round. It's like the Cavs Warriors of the NWSL at this point. But that's what good rivalries do. They push each other. They bring players to play better, especially when they play against each other. And I think both of these teams are locked in, but the Spirit do need to get a win because I'm sure they're tired of losing to the Gotham FC in the championship round.
Yeah, certainly. All right, we got another rivalry to talk about, but a little bit of a different topic. The Orioles and the Nationals have been rivals for a really long time. Nationals finally get out of the TV deal. They finally made their first trade with each other as a franchise earlier, like a month ago.
Wow.
Which team is more likely to make the postseason? Is it the Nationals or is it the Orioles?
I'll say this, the Nats are the better team for sure, but the Orioles are more likely to make the playoffs just because of how the AL is. That wild card chase is a little bit weaker. They've been on fire winning games lately, and they haven't played well, and they're somehow in it right now, 100 games or so into the season. So I think the Orioles have a better chance. But if the Nats decide they really want to be buyers and keep building their team, you never know. But I would put the Orioles at a much higher chance of making it.
I'm going to agree with Alex, but my reasoning is because just what you said right there, the Orioles are a team that's buying. They're not a team like the Nationals that are building up from where they used to be, which was bottom of the barrel in baseball. The Orioles had expectations 2 years ago to go to the playoffs. They had expectations last year to go to the playoffs. And people thought they're going to be decent this year. So I do think they're going to go to the playoffs just because, one, the team...
You think they're going to make it?
Yeah. I think they have a better chance. Wait, no. Better chance. Let me correct myself. But I think they have a better chance just because this team is in more of a win-now mode than the Nationals. So I think the Nationals are a little bit more comfortable with potentially not making the playoffs versus the Orioles kind of do need to make it.
We got to move pretty quickly, but I do think the Orioles have the better shot of making the postseason. The Nats pitching is so bad.
Yeah, that's so fair.
That's so bad. I mean, this weekend series was probably the perfect example of what they are. They dropped 23 runs on Friday. They gave up 15 runs on Saturday. It's so hard to predict what this team is. But once you get to the postseason, it's literally inning by inning, and the Nationals will lose those innings because they do not have the pitching staff in order to do it. So I think the Baltimore Orioles have the best chance. All right, the last thing we want to talk about those Washington Nationals, Foster Griffin. Is there a future with him on this team, or is he now going to move on? He's not under contract next year. He becomes a free agent. He has a chance to make a lot of money based off of the season. What do you guys think?
There needs to be a future with him in this team. You look at the pitching, he's one of the only bright spots, right? I mean, I think it's 7 or 8 games in a row now where he's given up 1 or less runs for the Nationals, which is a franchise record. He went to the All-Star game with James Wood and C.J. Abrams. He's a 30-year-old rookie. He's proved it. Former first-round pick. He's got the talent. I think he needs a long-term deal to stay in Washington. If they're not going to sign him to that long-term deal, they might have to trade him, which I hope doesn't happen because he seems like a great guy and he's helping them win. But I hope he sticks around.
I can see both kind of happening. I think if he leaves, it'd be more kind of he's asking for too much, and Nats might want to kind of temper down the amount of paying they're doing. I guess that's a possibility. But I can also see him staying. I would hope he kind of stays. And I think the main thing, like you said, Derek, the Nationals pitching is not good. They need all the help they can get. Help is right in front of them. So I think they're going to push to try and get him. I think they should push to try to get him too.
Not good is so kind.
Here's the problem. I kind of agree, but if they can get really good pieces for him at the trade deadline, which is in a week and a half, they might move on from him. Because the question is, going back to our last, do they think they're going to make the postseason? And if they think they're not going to make the postseason, they may trade him for other pieces that they think can get them to the postseason next year. Got Josiah Gray potentially coming back this year. We don't know if he's going to be in the rotation or in the bullpen. So there's definitely a lot of question marks. So that's the question. So I'm not quite certain what he will do. But if he gets to free agency, he's going to sign with the team with the most money.
Yeah, maybe they can get 3 or 4 relievers for him then.
Yeah.
A whole bullpen.
Yeah. All right. Coming up on the show, we're going to talk about DC United. They are back in action. Tiger caught up with them. We're going to have that coming up next on Game Night.
Welcome back into Game Night. We are talking DC United, and if you've had a soccer take due to the World Cup like I have, the MLS is back, and they're definitely ready to scratch that itch for you. And DC United is back playing the Houston Dynamo. A great game. It should be a great game. And DC United, 9th place in the standings right now, trying to move up the table. Spoke to the players and coaches earlier today about that, about coming back, and how they feel about it.
I'm glad that we have this restart now. Finally, it was a long break. We had time to train well together, but official games are different, so we will see it on Wednesday, but we trained well.
You know, we just want to display the best we can, the highest entertainment values obviously in goals, so I think the league's done a good job of scoring goals. It's just a matter of displaying that every day, that, you know, we're up there with some of the best.
All right, so DC United back in action, Washington Spirit back in action. We're coming off of the World Cup. So the question is soccer now more popular in the United States of America? What do you guys think?
More is, I feel like subjective. But I feel like it's definitely going to see an uptick in popularity just for the straight up fact that, like, we have social media. A lot of players went viral during the World Cup, and it was in America, so people really did feel the football aspect and the football energy from the fans. So I can see this fully. I'm not going to say the U.S. is going to win the World Cup in 4 years, but I can see this being a domino effect and one of the reasons why we at least see an uptick in people at least playing it at a young age.
Yeah, I think more people are going to maybe get into soccer. You'll see more kids playing youth soccer than you've seen from before the World Cup. I think you'll have more people following what's going on with Team USA. But But I think the biggest impact from this is going to be more people watching European soccer and watching soccer throughout the world because they saw all these stars and they're going to want to keep up with them now. I think that's going to be more of an impact than people starting to watch the MLS. I could be wrong. Maybe the MLS could start bringing some more guys in that draw people into the sport. But I think it's going to be more of an impact overseas.
I disagree. I think every 4 years we have this conversation on whether or not soccer is going to be more popular. I know it's different because it's in the U.S. I think it's still recency bias. I think what's going to happen when the European League comes back, the Premier League comes back, when does that season run?
Football season.
I couldn't even answer.
During football season. Yeah. And granted, the games are earlier. You got to get up, watch it on Fox Sports at like 9 a.m., et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But I think people will get so involved in football again that they'll forget about the Premier League. What I also think...
Honestly, these are fair points.
I also think if tickets were cheaper to get into the World Cup games, I think that would also help too. Because I think at youth soccer level, at that level, it's so expensive to get into the sport that kids who can't afford those things, right, which is more of the public than the kids who can and the families who can, didn't really get to attend those World Cup games because the tickets were so expensive.
But they got to watch them on TV.
I think the impact is greater in person than it is on television. Like, I'll use hockey as the example. Hockey, once you see it in person, you're in.
Oh, yeah.
You watch it on television, you're like, I don't know if I like it. I think soccer is the same thing because it's so low scoring and you don't really get to feel the environment. You don't really get that vibe. But if you were there, I think things are different. Now, do I think it'll rise for the next couple of weeks? Sure. But like in 4 years, are we going to say that soccer became more popular? Probably not.
I'll say this, though. If the U.S. would have beaten Belgium, if the U.S. would have somehow
that would have helped.
Made a further run, we'd be having a very different conversation right now. But everybody got so excited and so disappointed in that result that I think they were like, oh, yep, still same old soccer. Never mind.
I could see that, but I don't know. I just feel like a lot of it, I didn't see a lot of the popularity boom that I saw in the 22 World Cup and the 26 World Cup with guys like Haaland. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Coming up, we're going to check in with the Washington Commanders. Training camp begins next week. We'll have more coming up next on Game Night.
Welcome back into Game Night, and now continuing our coverage of the Washington Commanders. Tommy Donatel is the Commanders' defensive backs and safeties coach. He's one of the assistants we spoke to several weeks ago. It's our final interview in that series as we lead up to training camp next week. Take a look. Here with Tommy Donatel, the Commanders' defensive backs and safeties coach. Tommy, I want to talk about Durante Jones first, coming in as defensive coordinator. What's it like learning from him so far? How does his philosophy change this defense?
Man, it's been awesome to get to know Coach Jones. You know, he's got so much knowledge in the game and had so much success. It's just been fun to kind of soak that in. With his specialty in the back end, it's been extra, valuable to us to kind of learn from him and kind of paint the vision that he wants to do. So every day we're learning from this guy, and he's leading the way. He's doing a great job this offseason, and we're looking forward to the fall.
I know this past defense at some points last season struggled a bit. So how have you seen your guys respond to that from last year in terms of how they want to improve on things this year?
Oh yeah, everyone's hungry. Everyone's got a bad taste in their mouth the way our second season went, and so there's definitely a hunger in the air. With the defense, the whole team really. And Coach Q's leading the way with that, along with Coach Jones. So it's a very exciting time to get back to work and improve on what we did last year.
Bringing a guy like Nick Cross, we covered him back when he was at Maryland, so we know the talent you're getting there. What does he add to this defense?
Big, fast, physical, downhill player. We're excited to have him. Can play multiple roles. So we're excited for Nick to kind of join the group and add to the safeties group.
And then obviously, a couple years ago was a fun year for this team. Last year, not so much. So how do you guys kind of channel 2 years ago, learn from last year, but also forget last year?
Yeah, you got to learn the lessons, right, in the tough years, and I think we did. And that's why like I said, there's so much hunger this year because we know what we have in our group. And we're excited to keep it moving in that way. And like you said, man, like this team has felt success, and they know what it takes. And then we felt, a down year last year. So we've seen the ups and the downs, and when you go through those downs, you get a lot of wisdom from it, and you actually grow closer together. We really feel like we have a really close secondary group that's gone through really good times and some tough times. So we're excited to see what we continue to build here.
One final question for you, another one about Nick Cross. He told me that DQ tells them, since some of these drills let the receivers catch the ball at this time of the year, he said he would not let Chig catch the ball. Is that the good mentality you're going for these guys?
Nick's got a great mentality. I mean, he's all about ball all the time, and it's hard to change that in a player like him. But yeah, per OTA rules, we're not supposed to challenge the ball, and it's a challenge at times. But we follow the rules here. Coach Q does a great job of making sure we all follow the guidelines of the OTA rules from the NFL, and it can be a challenge though for the defense at times to feel the finish of a play.
Welcome back into Game Night. Derek Forrest alongside Alex Flum and Tiger Munn. The last thing we're going to talk about a little video games. Which sports video game is the best, if you will?
You want to go first?
Well, we talked about this a little bit on Undrafted Opinions. We did a draft. So March Madness 2010 is the best.
Going back to old school games.
Is the best sports video game ever. But
I didn't realize we were doing old school.
Fairs.
I mean, FIFA's fun, Madden's fun, 2K's fun.
Fairs.
I'm
going to not go with Madden. I am going to not go with 2K. And I'm definitely not going with FIFA. It's going to MLB The Show. I know you didn't expect me to say that. I think MLB The Show is through and through the best sports game because they actually care about it. Versus college football, Madden, 2K. I can keep going on, but
if Derek doesn't agree with you on this, then you're wrong.
Yeah, everybody knows I'm the gamer in the room, and MLB The Show this year, they do not care about anything that's happening with the gamers. For sure.
Shell is underrated, by the way.
We have to get out of here. I will say sports games right now, crap.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes.
Because they invest so much in realism that you have to be like a coach to play these games now. And but my vote, college football.
Yeah.
That is the best sports game out right now.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. and I play MLB The Show religiously. So
I played college football religiously, too.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for another edition of Game Night for Tiger Munn, Alex Flum, Derek Forrest. Have a good night.